Well, the coaching firing cycle is in full display. We've had one in the NFL, but we're going to focus on college football where we all know James Franklin was let go. Is this going to trigger more firings? Yes, it will. We're going to have an active offseason with some big time jobs coming open. We're going to get into who, what, when, where, and why coming up. Remember, though, to subscribe. So we appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button. That way we can continue to bring you the best football content, inside information on the college and pro game. Well, we've got openings right now. Got a few. Oregon State came open. We know Oklahoma State's open. Arkansas's been open. Penn State gets open. We're going to have some other openings. We're going to go a little bit around the country, kind of go maybe some possibilities and go through some situations and look at where these might fall out. Now, there's a lot of frustration at Florida State. Mike Norvell has a huge buyout. I am through throwing out the idea that, well, the buyout's too big. It seems like if there's a will, there's a way. Buying out the coach, buying out the staff can be very costly. You have to weigh that versus what it's costing you. Can Mike save his job the rest of this year? I believe he can. Will he? I don't know. Are they in the best position at Florida State in the ACC to get conference type money to buy it out? No. So they're going to have to come up with that. But he's certainly dropping 3 in a row. Virginia, Miami, Pitt, all by one score. The whole dump Mike Norvell, that's starting to become a trend here now with his team struggling a little bit. Look, we're talking about over $50 million. Bigger number than James Franklin. And Florida State does not have a Penn State resource, Big Ten resources. They don't have A&M resources. And look, they've got road trip to Clemson. Looks like they're starting to figure things out. But 7-5, we might see if that'll play out. The Big Ten. Penn State, as we mentioned, is open. Luke Fickell, Wisconsin, is as good as gone. I think that decision's already been made. It's just a matter of the timing. That is a disaster spot. I'm surprised that when Luke got the job that he decided to go completely against the Wisconsin dynamics in going away from their true DNA. That they went away from that big physical, punch you in the mouth, come after you with good defensive fronts on that side of the ball, some physical tacklers in the secondary, big running backs behind a big offensive line. They just went try spread. It's just been a disaster. This is completely not working. Iowa just brutalized them. Alabama killed. Maryland, Michigan as well. And it's not a one-year thing. It is a big-time program. He did a good job in Cincinnati. He's 15-17. Look, Paul Chryst was fired after going 67-26 overall and 43-18 in the Big Ten. This is way, way worse. And they've got Ohio State and then Oregon left. Then they visit Indiana. This is going to get really ugly. It's a $28 million buyout, but I just don't see him surviving. Look, in the SEC, we could have some big openings. One, Billy Napier is dead man walking. He keeps surviving with a win and it turns around. I don't think it's going to finish in a way that is going to end in him keeping his job. Now, that could trigger something. They're going to go after Lane Kiffin hard. Is Lane going to leave? I don't know for certain that he would do that. Let's see, because I think that's their first call. Although Eli Drinkwitz is another guy they will consider. So you could have conference-on-conference crime here, poaching other guys that could create an opening at an Ole Miss or Missouri if possible. But that's when it's going to come open. Watch how things finish at Auburn with Hugh Freeze. 2 losing season. This team is not getting any traction. 3-game losing skid. And there's some things going on there with players mysteriously getting dumped and some conversations that we don't know all the details but are coming out. Auburn could have won all 3 of those games. And it's been a common case. Oh, yes, bad call here, bad call there. Look, under Freeze, Auburn is 2-8 in one-possession games, 1-11 against ranked teams. He's 14-7 overall, 14-17 overall, and 5-14 in SEC play. The good news, it's not a difficult schedule. They host Missouri, which will be making his first road trip. Then Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer, and then Alabama. Let's watch something. Auburn is very fickle. If they beat Missouri, and they beat Arkansas, Kentucky, and beat Vanderbilt, look and see that maybe things will soften and it'll look better, but there's some people that are going to want to pull the trigger on him before the Iron Bowl against Alabama. Because if he beats Alabama, he'll survive. So the people that are going to want him out, the boosters that have a heavy influence, are going to want him out before that game to run the risk, to eliminate the risk of him beating Alabama. At 7-5, may not be good enough. The Missouri game is huge, big time huge there. So those are some big time moves. We'll kind of go into some other ones, I think, as we go along. I think there's some other, we know Arkansas is already open. Oklahoma State, as we've mentioned, and those are in the process. Let's see how things play out. But some other coaches that are in trouble outside of that, and I think it's important to know because maybe your favorite coordinator of your team may be candidate for these jobs. But in Conference USA, I think Derek Mason of Middle Tennessee is in trouble, the former Vanderbilt coach. I think Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech is possibly in problem. Joe Moorhead, the former Mississippi State coach at Akron, could be in trouble there. I think Jay Norvell at Colorado State is also one we need to watch out for. Let's kind of keep an eye on it. We'll keep you up to date right here and at LandryFootball.com as things continue to develop. Those are potential likely openings depending on how things play out. As I mentioned, I don't think there's anything Luke Fickell can do to save his job, and I think the rest of them are going to have a hard time finishing in a way to keep their job. So that's where we stand now. But others may join that list that we've got our eye out on. So make sure that you subscribe and keep in touch as we'll keep you on all the inside details. Involving all the coaching search work, we'll provide you some information you can't get anywhere else. So appreciate you joining us. Talk to you next time.